If you want to work, if you want to type, that's okay. If you want to write in the book, okay.
Okay. What? I got an iPad. I can do either if you want. If you want to sit there, I can sit there with you if you want.
Okay. Okay, as we deal with writing programs, I told you before that programs are a set of instructions. We need to be explicit, Eli. Please don't speak lion. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, just a simple activity to start off with, is I'd like you to think of a really simple, regular task that you might do once a day or once a week. Okay, and I'd like you to write a set of instructions for it. Okay, just in English. So it might be something like getting ready for school in the morning. Or it might be making a sandwich. Okay? So you can either type it or write it, but you can start. Just a set of instructions telling somebody how to do something. Don't make it too long, probably around about 5 or 6 lines would be enough. Louis, did you ask anybody what you missed out on?
Yeah.
You did. Anybody else got their binary sheet that you finished for homework? Would you like me to mark it? You can bring it up now if you've got your binary sheet that you finished for homework and you'd like me to mark it.
Sir.
Thanks, Paul.
Instruction.
Thanks, champion. Oh. You finished, Nathan? Have you started, Nathan? Eli, have you finished? Haven't started yet, mate. You're on your portal for some reason. I beg pardon? Mate, you should be writing. You're sitting there talking early. Excuse me? Mate, I've asked you to work.
Okay, sorry.
Not too long, just about 4 or 5 lines. Explicit, simple. Don't make them too outrageous because you're going to read them out to the rest of the class. Hold on, is that yours that you just done? Or did you put your name on? $5.11. Don't know how you got that one.
when they're all ones, they're one shorter than the base number. Okay, so if they're 3 ones, it's 7. If they're 4 ones, it's 15, one short of 16. 5 ones, it's 31, one short of 32. 6 ones, it's 63, one short of 64. Okay? When they're 8 ones, that column's 128. The next column is 256. So when they're all ones, it's 255. So 255 is the maximum number we can represent with 8 bits. Okay? Have you ever looked at colours?
Yeah.
Web pages? 255. That's your palette in a normal GIF. Yeah? And that's what we use 1 byte for red, 1 byte for green, and 1 byte for blue. Because we can get up to 255, but we don't represent them in binary. We represent them in hex.
Yep.
Which I'm going to teach you all about.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, just get into that habit. If you get given 63, all ones. 31, all ones. So that's what I say. Burn those base numbers in your head, and then if you see one less than them, you go, oh, that must be. And if you see one more than them, so it's 65, 33, 17, it's a 1 and a 1. Make sense?
Yeah.
Did I mark the back?
Oh gosh.
You've had enough of it by now. You've had enough of it by now, haven't you?
No, I spoke to the form.
Oh, you got onto them, did you? Beautiful.
And already enrolled.
What, at our school?
Yeah. When I go into
They
it,
must have got through them, but she just didn't write down them.
when I put these numbers in
Okay, beautiful.
for existing,
Yep.
they all came,
Okay.
that red thing came up top.
They're already enrolled with us, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll double check.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yep. And so do we have to ring back to Bill and...
She said he was from Matraville, but when I put that number in and it just came up with his details.
Oh, did it?
Already in, like, name, address.
Oh, well, okay, so did you just save it? So he did it?
Yeah, I saved all of them.
Beautiful. Okay,
But
thanks.
can I go in again and check?
If you want to,
again?
yeah, but if you have enough of it, that's fine.
No, I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Right,
But,
okay.
and then,
If you go into that student's enrolment and it brings up... if you go into that student's enrolment and call up the year 11, if you just start typing their name in the box, it filters through, so you don't have to scroll down the whole list and just bring up the people who've got those, those ones. You get what I mean?
yeah, just start typing.
Yeah, just start typing their name in the box and it'll search for it and it'll bring it up. So you scroll all the way down through each time.
All right.
Okay.
And so, do I have to do that with all of these? Or?
No, you
just the ones that I want to check.
Yeah, sure.
So what will I just wait for these ones to come back, St. Scholastica's, to tell me?
Well,
She said give me today.
yeah, look, I'll just, once you've done whatever you're doing, I'll just extract it, give it to Suzanne, send it off, and these kids will just have to be added later on. That's all.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But have we got border studies numbers for them?
Didn't write those down.
But they're on
Yeah,
here.
they're on
Yeah, that's
here.
okay. No,
They're
I can just add that to the spreadsheet you give to Linda, to Suzanne. Yep, that's fine. So don't worry too much about the exact spells.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, it's just before the library. So they go. No, that's at the other end of the library. It's before the library. This end of the library. So just go up the first set of stairs. Where Wayloo used to be. Mason, that's a bit embarrassing, mate. I've got visitors in the room. Have you finished, have you? Is that why you're being silly? Okay. Can you read out your instructions then? Okay, just listening to Nathan's instructions.
Wake up, take shower, brush teeth.
What was the third one?
Brush teeth.
Right.
Change to school uniform, eat breakfast, go to school.
Okay, so you don't dry yourself after the shower? and I'm not invading your privacy here, mate, but you don't wear pyjamas? Because if you do, you just wet them in the shower.
Well, that's all it is.
Yeah, no worries, mate, that's okay. That's all right. Liam, can you read yours out, please?
Leave bedroom, make breakfast, take shower, pack bag for the day, make lunch, lock up house, walk to school.
Okay, not too bad. Sydney?
Yeah.
You still doing yours?
No.
Do you want a bit more time?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I've just got like instructions.
Let's listen, guys. A bit of manners.
I've just got instructions on like opening the doors and
Good,
stuff.
yeah?
Open front door, unlock screen door, close front door, lock screen door, open gate, close gate.
Okay, all right. One more. Anyone want to volunteer theirs? Joel? No, you don't want to. Lawrence?
No thanks.
No?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
These are instructions on how to turn on the iPad. Turn on iPad, put in password, open an app, start work.
Okay, all right. How have you written them? I can see Eli's and Ellie's there. Okay, how have you set it out? How have you structured it?
Mine's in pirate language.
Yours is in what? Pirate language. Nathan, how do you set yours out?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sentences?
Yeah.
Okay, are they one after the other, Eli? Your sentences one after the other?
No.
Like, are they just, is it one like paragraph or are they one line for each sentence?
One line.
Okay, cool. So you guys have already started making up your own rules of the way you're going to present your instructions. All right. Can I get one other person that's got a small one? Louis, I've heard you've got a small one. Can you come up and write yours on the board? How many lines have you got, Louis?
4.
Good boy. Can you write yours on the board? You okay, Lawrence? Right, Jess, you get one done? What'd you write about? I'm walking the board. I've heard you've done that a few times, haven't you? On like people's doors. Yeah. You've locked a few too, haven't you? So they can't escape on you? Yeah. And they're not called dates, mate, when you do that. They're not called dates if you have to lock the door to keep them there. Turning on my computer. Just keep going. Speak to it in a nice way. Buy it flowers. I'm distracted, mate, today. Okay, now just get your attention here. If you can just stop typing and just swivel around here. Let's have a look at Louis, what he's written, and it's probably pretty similar to what you've got up there on yours. Okay, so he's got turning on my computer, check if the computer is on. Okay, straight away, I get a little bit confused. No? Turning on my computer, check if the computer is on.
why am I getting a little bit confused there, those two lines? Can you stop swinging the chairs, guys, please? It just makes me dizzy. Sorry?
I think the first line's a title.
The first line's a title. Okay, so there should be something. If we're in English, if we're writing something and we have a title, we normally make it look different to the rest of the passage, don't we? Okay, so in software, when we're writing our code, we normally make our title or our name of our program look different to the rest of the code. So we know what the name is and what the instruction is. So we make sure we have a difference. And we spoke about it the other day. Can you remember what we said we put at the very beginning? At the very beginning. That. Alice, can you remember? At the very beginning.
I know it was called, but it was for IPO charts, and then you had the heading, maybe?
Yeah, what might we use in code as the heading? Liam?
Do you put speed marks?
No.
I think you put begin.
Put begin. Okay, so we put begin. Okay, and we can have the name of it after begin if we want to. Okay, but we put a begin there, so we know that's where we're starting our code. Okay. Check if computer is on. Open up computer case. Find the motherboard and press the power button on the motherboard. Then we would have an end, so we know that our instructions have finished. Otherwise, we'd be hanging there, just like our computer might do. We'd be hanging there waiting for the next instruction. So if someone said, "Go and do this something. Do this, do this, do this," and they say it like that, you're going, "Yeah." And then they'll go, "Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you, that's the end." You just, "Oh, well, great." Okay? So we actually have at the end there so we know. Broom, broom. I'll bring some blocks in next lesson, might be able to play with, okay? Hello. Okay, so we have a beginner there, end there, so we know when our code starts and when our code stops. But I like this, and every one of you did this. You had single line, but each thing that happens. Now, we've read in English here, and in our English we read top to bottom, left to right. Okay? Now, when we write instructions, the same thing. In computer languages, we probably do the same, but we have to know a universal language that we can all understand, and it's called pseudo. Pseudocode. Now, pseudo means not real, or something that's standing in for something else, like a pseudo-author. Okay? So a pseudocode, it's not, when we write our pseudocode, it won't actually run in a computer. That's the way we design our problems. Okay? In your HSC exam next year, you will get a lot of questions that you will have to write in pseudocode or read pseudocode. So we all have to understand what pseudocode is. Okay? Now with pseudocode, there's not a real lot of rules. But what we do, we have one instruction per line, so it's easy to understand. Okay? One instruction per line. We have a begin and an end. Okay? And the only difference, if you look at this, if you had said that was English, what would you pick Louis up on? If you were doing his draft writing, if you were correcting it for him, if that was a story, what would you say was wrong? There's no grammar. There's no. What shows us if there's grammar?
Capitals, full stop.
Punctuation. There's no punctuation there. Okay? So there's no real syntax rules in pseudocode. However, what we can do is just make sure that we separate the difference between doing words and nouns. Does anyone not know what a doing word is? A verb. Is everyone okay with that? Can someone give me an example of a verb? Running. Jumping. So most of those words have got ing on the end. Okay, so it's when you're doing something. Okay, so we separate our doing words because they're normally a process. Now remember our last lesson we had the IPO. The inputs and outputs were nouns. The process was doings. We were calculating or we were adding. Okay, the input was what we were putting in. The output was what we're getting out. They were things. So in our pseudocode, what we do is we try to take the processes and we write those in capital letters. And then with the nouns, the things, our labels, our containers, we give them a name and we write those not in capital letters, we just use a capital letter for the first letter. Okay, so for example, when we're looking at number 1, I'll write it like that, capital N, and then a 1 at the end. Some people might put an underscore in there. If you want to, just so it's easier to read. Okay, we can even have number 2. It doesn't really matter what you call it.
just a tip though, when you're setting up your variables in your program, don't use reserved words with variable names. Does anyone not know what I mean by reserved words? Okay, in all languages there's special words that have special functions or special use. Okay, and so you can't use those whenever you want them. You can only use them when they're meant to be used. Okay. All right. So our pseudocode is just English, no real rules. We have a couple of letters for our reserved words, our doing words, and then we can use variables for our objects. Okay. But it's still written in English, and it has to be logic. Okay. Now here we're following one thing after the other. Okay. So we've got English and we've gone over to pseudocode, so we're already learning a new language. We haven't even looked at Pascal yet, which is the language we're going to be using this term. What other languages have you programmed in? What did you tell me the other day? C++. Okay, what I'd like you to do for the next 10 minutes, I'd like you to see if you can write down about 5 or 6 different computer languages. You can use the Google if you want. Okay, I want to write down about 5, but if you already know some, that's okay. See if you can find 5 or 6 different programming languages. Now I mentioned Pascal. We've got C++. HTML is not a programming language. HTML is, have you written them down already? HTML is not a language, it's not a programming language. It's just a way of formatting. Since you've written them down so quick, can you give a brief statement about each one?
C is Java.
No, right. There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. But one of them was C.
Ellie, you got one for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Pearl.
Sorry?
Pearl.
Pearl? Eli, got one?
Yes. Java.
Yep, cool. Jesse?
Flash.
Flash?
Yeah.
Is that a language?
Oh no, I was
Yeah, he's just copied. You couldn't be bothered getting up and typing in Google?
No.
You just sit there and... Do you know what language Flash is written in? Does anyone know?
Java, isn't it? Correct.
What? Yeah, that's the second part of the name. Action script, it's actually called. Well, it used to be. I'm assuming it still is. Anybody else want to throw one up?
JavaScript.
Sorry?
JavaScript.
JavaScript. C Sharp. Oh!
I thought that was C Sharp as well.
Is there a difference between C++ and C Sharp?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The way the syntax.
The syntax is different? Okay. Very different. Okay. Any others?
C.
C? What?
Just C.
What about basic?
Oh,
Anybody use BASIC? That's what I started learning in and back in.
Ruby. Yes, we had computers. Ruby?
Back in
Ruby? Back in. No, I don't want to give away how old I am. 29. Yeah. Pretty good, huh? 29.
Python.
Any others?
Python.
Python, thank you.
Yes.
Because you've been speaking to my mates. Oh, is that a language, is it?
Yeah.
Anybody heard of Fortran? COBOL?
I've heard of Provo.
Okay, so there's some old ones. Okay, languages have evolved over the years. Okay, so BASIC was used quite a while ago. It's not used much anymore because it's too basic. Thank you. Too basic. There's not a real lot you can do with it. Okay, so languages have evolved. We have different generations of languages. Okay, so we have 5 generations of languages. You can take this down if you want to. 5 generations of languages. And our highest one, we're looking at artificial intelligence. So where the program is actually supposed to be able to change as it runs and learns things. We have machine language, which is very hard to read, so that's right down the bottom. Machine language is hard for us to read, but the computer understands it. I'll give you some text on this as well, okay? We have assembly language. Very hard, still hard to read, easier to read than machine language. Easier to read than machine language, but still hard to read. And it's made up of things called mnemonics. M-N, silent, M-M-N-E-M. Mnemonics. How do I spell mnemonics?
M-N-E-M-O-N-I-C.
M-N-E-N-O-N-I-C. That's an M, isn't it? N-E-M. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so which just means small words, blocks of letters put together to represent commands. Now, I know that's pretty boring, and like to write your program now, you don't need to know what other languages there were that you're not going to use. However, sometimes they throw it up in an exam and go, what's the difference between C+ and machine language? Machine language is lower generation or first generation, very hard to read. Whereas C++ easier to read, so it's easier for the developer, along those lines. Okay, but I'll give you some text on it. Okay, this is Louis' pseudocode, almost pseudocode, it's pretty close to it. Okay, and I've converted it to something else over here. Someone want to tell me what this is called? A flowchart. Okay. Now, I'm supposed to have arrows in there. Now, because Louis just said we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this, which is okay, that's not what I asked you to do. It just follows in a straight line. So, in our flowchart we have ovals, which are our begin and end. We can call those terminals. We have rectangles, which are called processes. We have diamonds, which are, anyone know? Decisions. And we have a rectangle with a little square, or a little rectangle at each end, and that is a... Sorry? Yeah?
What are ovals?
Sorry, mate?
What are ovals?
Terminals. Begin and end. So, a terminal just means where something starts or finishes. Okay? Bus terminal, train terminal. Okay? Or even electrical connectors, they're called terminals. So that's our beginning, it's a terminal. So we have those at the beginning and end. A rectangle is a process, so something's happening. Okay, one process after the other. We have a diamond for a decision. And does anyone want to guess what this is? I've started writing it, so you should have a guess. Where? No? Okay, it's a sub-program.
Excuse my lousy board work. Okay, it's supposed to be a rectangle with two little rectangles over here. Okay, but with blueies, all we've got there is just our terminals and each process. There's no sub-program. That's good because I didn't ask you to do a sub-program. I haven't looked at that yet. But there's no decisions. Can you have a look what he's written there and think, is there a space there where actually a decision could have formed? Check if computer is on. Okay, we could have had a decision there because
It's on, then you don't have to press.
right, if it's on, we don't have to turn it on, and if it's not, we do. What word there? There's only 5 words in that sentence. What word there springs to mind and triggers us to think, hang on, that's not just a straight process, there's actually a decision there. Sorry? If. I suppose check does lead us to that. I suppose they go together. But if's the one I'm really looking at because if is a reserve word. And when we use if, we're actually looking at conditions. And we're saying if something is true, if this condition is true, then we need to do something. If it's not true, we do something else. When we have one process after the other, we call this just sequencing. That's just a sequence. So here, where he's got the if, we could have actually said, if the computer is on, do this, and if it's not, do this. Now, how we do that with our diamond, I'll show you. Let's say we're saying, if it's raining, take your umbrella. Okay? So, the decision should normally be in a question. Is it raining? Is it raining? We come out of one side and we come out of its bottom. Okay? With a diamond, this is Mark's guys. With a diamond, we can only come out of it in 2 spots. Okay? You don't come out of it in 3 spots, only 2. Okay? We come into it from here, and we come out there and there. Now, it doesn't have to be yes there, it could be yes here, it doesn't really matter. Is it raining? Yes. And our process is take umbrella. Okay. Now that's the only difference. If it's raining, we're going to take the umbrella. Once we've taken the umbrella, we're actually going to come back and do the rest of the instructions. Okay? Pretty easy to look at. That's our flow chart for an if. So here's my decision, and it should be in a question. We've come down from whatever happened here. We've got to here and said, is it raining? Yes, take an umbrella. If it's not, Sydney, what happens? So what happens? What do you do?
We don't have the next process.
Well, nothing. Nothing happens. So if it's raining, you take an umbrella. If it's not raining, nothing happens until you get to the next process. Okay? I want you to have a go, see if you can now convert that into pseudocode. How would you write that as sentences? Don't worry if you don't know how to, because within 10, 15 minutes you're going to know. Okay? I just want you to have a little go. People sometimes get cranky with me because I ask you to do things that you haven't been asked to do before. Some people go, well, who are we supposed to know? But I like to just give you the chance of actually doing it yourself. Because then I go, that's right. And you go, oh, cool. I'll work that out myself. Oh. I'm not going to stand up in front of you and just throw facts and things at you all the time and say, this is this. I want you to do it for yourselves. How do you think you would write that decision in pseudocode? Not as a flowchart, not like that, and that's not how I do it either. I mean, come to the side, over there, and come down to the top. Now, how would you write it as sentences? Not too bad. That could be better. Don't need numbers. Okay, it's not a procedure, so you don't need to put numbers on the side. However, in some exams you might see numbers on the side, they go up multiples of 10. They're simply for reference. They're simply for you to say, oh, at number 30 this happens. Or they might say to you, where's the error? You say, oh, number 20, line 20. Okay? You don't need to have line numbers on the side. That's why we give each process a new line. You change it, did you? Yes. Okay, that's not too bad. Good how people think differently. You got a question mark at the end of it. Yeah, but that's not a question. Oh, I suppose it is. Yes, sorry. Yeah, okay, that's okay. You can look at that. It wasn't wrong, but it's the same as someone else's. That's all right, no worries. That's okay. I don't expect you to ask it. I just want you to have a look at it. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. If I stand there going, I'm not going to equal that. I'll let me do it. We'll just sit down and make them over. Okay, now I saw a couple of people said, if it's raining, take an umbrella. If it's not, do nothing. Okay, do you need to be told to do nothing? How do you do that? How do you do nothing?
Well, I wrote, if it's not raining, disregard previous instructions.
Okay, that's all right. But if I don't send you out, if I don't tell you to get out, disregard that, but it didn't actually happen, so... Like, how do we disregard things that haven't happened? I'm not having a go at you. I'm just trying to say, we don't need to state the obvious, or we don't need to state do nothing. By not stating do something, we actually are doing nothing. Does that make sense? No? I don't need to say, okay, let me show you the way I'd like you to do it, and then it'll make a bit more sense to you. Okay, so I said, what was that word in that line that Louis wrote? What was the one word in that line? I said that tells us there's a decision? If. Okay, so if is a reserved word, so I put it in capitals. If, I'm just going to say raining. If raining, if something is this, then, okay, in capitals again, so if and then go together. If raining, then grab umbrella. And if. Okay? I don't need to say don't grab the umbrella. What's wrong, Jess? Does it not make sense? No. Okay. So if it's raining, I grab the umbrella. If it's not true, if it's not raining, I don't do that. I only do this if this is true. So I call this the condition. That's the condition, okay? And this is the statement. Okay, so if the condition is true, then the statement gets executed. Now, I might have more than one statement there. So it might be, if weekend, jump out of bed, grab some toast, turn on the TV, put your feet up, call mates. All those things happen if it's the weekend. Okay? If it's not, then we might have to do something else. But we don't do all of that stuff. Okay? So if this condition is true, then do this. Okay? So that's a decision, and that matches the diamond that I had, and I went like this, and I said, if it's true, do this, and here I said nothing. Okay? If you're going to write in there, if it's not,
do nothing, then you need to have a rectangle in here saying do nothing. Every rectangle has to match a line. Does that make sense? There's our process. Grab umbrella. I need to have there, grab umbrella. Our rectangles match a line. If I wanted to have 3 things in there, I would need to have 3 rectangles in there. I do this, this, and this, and then join up. Okay, so we call that a selection. This is just a sequence because it's just one thing after the other. When I've got an if statement in there, we call that a selection because you're selecting whether you go that way or this way. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, cool. What happens though? Let's change this to if it's the weekend. What's something you might do on the weekend? Different to a different day.
Sleep in.
Okay. If it's the weekend, sleep in. And if it's not the weekend, if it's a school day, sleep in. If it's a school day, if it's a school day, else. If it's a school day, you're going to get up. Yep. Okay. However, as you said, if this is true, sleep in, we introduce a word called else, which means if this condition is not true, then I want you to do something else. If it's the weekend, then sleep in, else get up. Convert that for me into flowchart. If you're on Word, you can find the symbols down in the call-outs. In the basic symbols you've got. You should be able to find a little diamond in there. And a rectangle. Otherwise just draw it. So you just go back the other way. I gave you a flowchart and I asked you to write it as pseudo. Now I'm giving you some pseudo and I'm asking you to write it as a flow. So if it's a weekend, so you've got a diamond. Is it the weekend? Remember it's a question. The diamond's a question. Yes out of one side, no down the bottom, or vice versa. No out of the side, yes out of the bottom. Don't have more than 2 coming out. 1 in, 2 out. You've got to have 2 out, because if you don't have 2 out, you've only got 1 out, then there's no decision to be made. So therefore it shouldn't be a diamond. Beautiful.
We can't write which section.
Oh, on the right hand side, it says students on the line. Oh, sorry, students. Schools on. Schools on line, I think there's 2. There's 1 on. That's on the right hand side. So you get to the border stuff.
Oh, it's really messy.
You'll come up and have their name, their address, and how'd we go, Louis? Well done.
Can't do Photoshop on WordPad, so we don't have.
On WordPad?
We don't have.
You don't have Word?
I'm doing that today.
I'm done.
Okay, I said, that's okay. But remember, come out of the side and the bottom. Okay, just leave it like that now. It's okay. Just, guys, try not to come out of the 2 sides. Okay, try to make a habit of coming out of the side and the bottom. Later on when I start doing it neatly, you'll see why. Okay, we can just try to keep it coming out of the side and the bottom, and we'll keep it nice and neat. That's good. Next time, put that process in line with that process. Okay, so come out, go down, and then draw the process. Okay, and that way it'll look like you can see them there in parallel, so you can say, this happens if it's true, this happens if it's false. Okay?
That's good, Ellie. Can you just drop that one and then you're level with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you draw your line down, level one. Only the one diamond, because there's only one question.
Yeah.
Can you drop that down?
Yeah.
So you have your rectangle there. Yeah, that's it. You'll get the hang of these flowcharts in no time, okay? Sorry? Oh, come on. It's just two things. If it's the weekend, sleep in, else get up. And if. So, can I just also draw your attention, I know mine's not neat, but notice how sleep in and get up are pushed in, they're indented. That way, if I have a bunch of processes inside there, I can say my if starts here and my else is there. Everything that happens in between happens if it's true. Everything that happens between else and if, everything that's in here happens if it's not true. Okay, so when things happen inside something else, we indent them. So that's why we start with begin, and then the next line is indented because that's inside the begin. You've only got one process written there. Oh, come on. It's not rocket science. You need to write, you get up.
What?
Get up. No, you leave your decision. No, you just...
Okay.
I'm
still again.
Okay, I understand you had your box. I think maybe you're waiting for someone else to help you. Okay, so you need to have your box there. Oh, okay. Next time, have them at the same level. That's okay? Yeah. So your right box saying sleep in, but here you should say get up.
Yes.
It should have been done.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was good. Oh, no, you have to write it here, but what you do, you just bring a line from there to join back up there. So once that one's down, that's right, okay, just stay that's a line, get the line down, stop there, and then draw a line down from that one down as well. Pick up over there like that. And just draw a line from there to there. Yeah, that's fine. I should have told you to draw it that way, but that's okay. So it comes here, and if it is or yes, it's true, it goes that way. Sleeps in, comes back here, and then down there. If it's not the weekend, you get up, you get up the same spot. So the only difference is you either got up or you slept in, and then over here you can do whatever. But that's good.
Would I need to write yes or no?
Yeah. So you put a what, but it might be harder to express. So you have a y on one and a n on the other. Okay. So maybe change that to instead of if we can, so if we can. That way.
Right inside the box.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where?
so I just write.
You want to put it close to the join, and that way you know which path to go down. All right. Don't freak out too much if you're thinking, oh, geez, flowcharts, I haven't used these before. You'll get it in no time, okay? We're going to be doing them over and over again. Sometimes in the HSC it might say to you, you can answer in pseudo or flow. It might let you choose. Most of the time it tells you to do it in pseudo. Okay? They prefer you to be doing it in pseudo because it takes up less room, easier for them to read. Sydney, just drop that horizontal line down below. Okay, now this if, we don't know where it fits, we don't know what was before it, we don't know what's after it, so you didn't need to write begin or end, you didn't need to worry about too much what was above it. It should look something like this. Remember, it's a question. Is it the weekend? And then she ring you up and say that they've released them?
Yes. Maybe it takes a while.
Just try add. So try add. So just using something still. Yeah, you with me? Do you want me to come down? Okay. Okay, now notice my arrows. Notice my arrows. Thanks, Whistler. Okay, so I've got an arrow just at the end. So my arrow's there coming in, my arrow's there, just showing me the way I'm travelling. Okay, and there would be something down here. Okay, I've got my two processes in line. It's easy for me to look at. If it's true, that'll happen. If it's not, that'll happen. Okay, try not to have your box up there. Okay, so we come out of one side, we come out of the bottom. Okay, so you slipped in and you ended up with a relay.
Just down, pick them that up.
Okay, so you've done that. So it's just two boxes to the wall. Isn't that funny how you made the same mistake as the person sitting right next to you?
I did one first.
Arrows there? Be back in 2 seconds.
Then I got stuck. You don't get to go home early either.
Hey.
Wow, Jesse. What's me?
I'll sort of actually. You can go on my
That's that as well.
Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Isn't until the same order?
Yeah.
no. Okay, there's some reserve words. Well, not so much reserve, because it's not going to crush if you use it, but there's some words that we use in pseudo. Okay? And so it tells us that something's happening, so I've written them in capitals, so if you want to get those down, that's the basics of pseudo. Probably won't need much more than that.
when you're writing a program. So we've got begin and if, I've left off else. It's not in any particular order. Then repeat until, while, and while, read, get, print, for, next. Now, if you want to use a different word than print, if you want to write print to, guys, can you not speak away, please? If you want to write print to screen, that's okay. You won't lose any marks for that. If it's explicit, if it makes sense, it's okay to use. Alright?
Does it have to be in all caps?
Yes. Yes. That's one of the conventions. One of the rare rules that we use is pseudo, that is in all capitals.
Yeah.
Now, who asked me, isn't a while the same as a for? Okay. So you told me the other day that you do programming.
Yeah. I just.
You said that you.
No, it was until. It's about the same as before. Because when I look at that, it's until this is true, until this is.
The until goes with a repeat,
Okay.
and while and the while go together,
Yep.
and the for and the next go together. Okay, we're going to look at the differences. Okay, so only 5 minutes to go, so I don't mind what you do for the next 5 minutes as long as they get too noisy. If you really want to keep your brain going, you might like to try to write the one that you did, the instruction at the beginning of the lesson, you might like to try to convert that to pseudo. Did you hear that, Eli? Sorry? Okay, so that's a no, I didn't. So if I'm speaking, I'd really like for you to listen to me, and then if you want to speak to me, I'll listen to you. I'm just saying, if you want to keep your brain going, you don't want to just float for the next couple of minutes, you can actually have a go converting the first instructions that you had at the beginning, you want to convert that to pseudo. To a flow chart. You don't have to. I don't mind what you do for the next few minutes. Okay. Lawrence, have you got access to the student drive?